Now let's focus on the man behind it all. Who is the shooter who managed to breach the event in Washington? His name is Cole Thomas Allen, 31 years old, from California. And on paper, he does not fit the profile you might expect. He is a gamer, a tutor. In 2024, he was the Teacher of the Month in his institute. Look at Cole Allen's LinkedIn, and what you'll find is more cookie-cutter nerd than hardcore killer. He has a bachelor's degree in mechanical engineering from the prestigious California Institute of Technology, a master's in computer science from California State University, 6 years working at C2 Education, a company that helps students prep for college admissions. In 2024, he contributed $25 to Kamala Harris's presidential campaign. He developed a video game about molecular chemistry on Steam. He was apparently working on a new top-down shooter game set in outer space. He once built a prototype emergency brake for wheelchairs. A local television station interviewed him in college about technologies to help the elderly. This is not the profile of a man the world expected to be arrested outside a presidential event. Hands tied back, lying on the ground. But here's where it gets alarming. Cole Allen made it past the outermost layer of security at the event at which President Trump was about to speak, because he was a guest at the hotel. That was his ticket in. And once inside, eyewitnesses say he found a lightly monitored area. This was a makeshift room near the terrace level entrance, used for storing bar carts. Nobody was actively watching it. That's where he allegedly began assembling a weapon. Moments later, he walked out. Surveillance video posted by President Trump showed the shooter running past security. A Secret Service agent was standing at a checkpoint. Allen reportedly raised his shotgun and fired at close range. The officer was struck, but he survived because he was wearing a bulletproof vest. Trump has confirmed it himself.
All of the conditions that took place tonight, and I will say, it's not a particularly secure building, and I didn't want to say this, but this is why we have to have all of the attributes of what we're planning at the White House. It's actually a larger room, and it's a much more secure.
We about to fact check this first. If you mess with me, make sure that follow button. And this month is SA and Autism Awareness Month. Let's get it. What the hell is Donald Trump talking about? First, if the hotel was not secure, that means that the security detail sucks. And I do believe that this assassination attempt was staged, and here's why. On April 16th, the U.S. judge blocked Donald Trump's $400 million ballroom from being built. In fact, Fox News reported the judge blocked it unless it was deemed strictly necessary for national security purposes. And then 10 days later, there was an assassination attempt on the president during a correspondent dinner. And if we actually analyze the security details, Charlie Kirk's funeral had better security details than this. Al Jazeera reported that the White House correspondent dinner had airport security level, while Charlie Kirk's funeral had level 1 security measures. It was also reported that the attacker was allegedly a hotel guest, and he was able to breach the outermost security checkpoint, which is located near the hotel lobby.
Hey folks, it's Joe from Georgia. Here's an update from the shooting at the Hilton Hotel where the White House Correspondents' Dinner was held tonight and the president was in attendance. Now folks, no one shot at the president. This was not an assassination attempt, which Fox News is out there using that word every minute that they can. Folks, the shooter didn't even make it into the ballroom. As a matter of fact, the shooter didn't even make it through the metal detectors. This all happened in the lobby of where the ballroom is. The shots were fired by both Secret Service and the gunman, and there is new reports saying that the gunman is not dead, but he is at the hospital at Howard University being treated for his injuries, as well as the Secret Service agent who was injured, but his Kevlar vest did stop the bullet from entering his body.
What happens?
A lot of people claim that was a hoax. I've never said that. But Marjorie Taylor Greene, yes, this Marjorie Taylor Greene is now claiming that it was a cover-up and that Corey Comparator, the fireman who died that day, was, quote, used in the plot because somebody had you die. Otherwise, it would be too easy to claim it was a hoax. Was it a hoax?
You want to know why people think it was a hoax? It's not because they're stupid. It's because they're exhausted. Exhausted from being lied to. Exhausted from being spun in circles. Exhausted from watching the same political theater play out over and over again like we're all background actors in someone else's reality show. So when something happens that looks like it came straight out of a movie, perfect angle, blood on cue, fist in the air, campaign-defining photo in seconds, people don't just clap, they squint.
The Trump assassination last summer.
Looked at
how many times does a man have to look down the barrel of a gun before the establishment and the spineless lemmings stop calling it a hoax or a distraction? Last night, with the cameras rolling at the Washington Hilton, we weren't just watching a security breach. We were watching the inevitable results of years of radicalized rhetoric. When high-ranking Democrat officials call the president a threat to democracy or claim that he must be extinguished from the political map or insinuate that he is a pedophile and that he is someone who is guilty of doing all the heinous acts that were committed at Epstein Island, they aren't simply using metaphors or questioning a story or a narrative. They're literally blowing a dog whistle to radicalized fringe ideologues who among their ranks have people who are willing to go out and act on their unproven beliefs. The liberal media is already, right now, as we speak, it hasn't even been 24 hours. The liberal media is at work, and what they're doing is they're trying to spin this into something that's beneficial for their narrative. The suspect, Mr. Cole Alana, or whatever his name is, Cole Allen, he's a lone wolf. He operated by himself. You know, that's what lone wolf means. It means you just operated alone. No one was helping you. No one orchestrated it. And nothing they've said or done had any impact on the actions that you took. They're disowning him. And isn't that par for the course? I mean, let's be real, guys. I've told you so many times, Black people are nothing but the unwitting fall guy and or girl for the Democrat establishment, for the radical media establishment. They make up the bullshit narratives. They throw out the outlandish claims. We echo those outlandish claims. And now we're getting to the point where we're picking up guns, making ourselves appear to be the threat on behalf of these idiotic narratives. Let's be real. They want everyone to think that this stuff is just a staged play. Oh, it's fake. It's not really real. But there's nothing staged about it. What person, just for shits and giggles, says, you know what? I want to go and be a part of a situation where I run in, risk my life, pull out a gun, shoot a Secret Service agent in the chest, potentially killing him so that Trump can get a new ballroom built. You don't think That if someone's a part of something that's just a staged hoax, when the judge drops the gavel on the rest of their life in prison, you don't think that they would say, wait, whoa, 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 whoa. They hired me to do this. I don't want to spend the rest of my life in prison, right? My camera needs to be closer. I don't know if I can get it closer. I don't know how to work my camera. You guys don't know that about me. But I don't know how to work my camera. I'm just asking a simple question. Where are they finding all these people who are just like, sign me up to spend the rest of my life in prison so Donald Trump can get a new ballroom at the White House? It doesn't even exist. It doesn't exist. Whether it's the situation in Butler or the situation in West Palm Beach and now the situation in DC, the pattern is undeniable, people. These aren't accidents. They're missions. And they are missions that are where the subject or the people clearly taking up these missions have been indoctrinated and radicalized by the far left, radicalized media, who's hated Donald Trump ever since he called them fake news, and the Democrat Party, who is willing to do absolutely anything, sacrifice anyone to regain power. Guys, we've been around this country long enough. We know what this is. And it's so funny that the people who always claim to be able to see something that you can't see, they're the ones who always fall for this crap. Let's be real. They're the ones who always fall for this crap. When you look at the manifesto, this guy left a manifesto, Cole Thomas Allen. You don't see a guy who was a prankster. You see a guy whose mind has literally been poisoned by the narrative that has been on our televisions, on our cell phones, on our media outlets, on our radios for let's not even go 2 years. We've been being bombarded by anti-Trump narratives for like the past 10 years. It's been a decade of nonstop Trump is bad, Trump is evil, Trump is this, Trump is that. And it's like when the investigations take place and they reveal that Trump isn't guilty, here's the next thing. Here's the next thing. Now it's Trump was on Epstein Island. Trump was on Epstein Island. Now everyone knows Trump was never on Epstein Island. Everyone knows that. Everyone knows that. Bill Clinton was on Epstein Island, but do you see anybody hunting down Bill Clinton? Let that sink in for a second. Bill Clinton was on Epstein Island. Bill Clinton was in a jacuzzi. Photos of Bill Clinton in a jacuzzi with women who were assaulted by Epstein. Why does no one go after Bill? Why aren't there forums and people all over the internet making videos about, well, Bill needs to be arrested immediately? Why aren't people camped out at the Clinton residence like they do Supreme Court judges until Bill Clinton gets arrested? Because this has nothing to do with justice for the victims. This has everything to do with get Donald Trump no matter what. And that was a person, that's who this Cole Thomas Allen was. He was a victim. He was a victim of being bombarded for over a decade. Think about this, guys. The man was 20 years old. He was 20 years old when Trump first got elected. He was 30. He's 30 right now. From the time he was a kid to the time he was 30 years old, he's been bombarded by a constant narrative of Trump is evil, Trump is bad, Trump's going to destroy this country, Trump is going to kill us all, Trump's going to put us back in chains, negative, negative, negative. From the time he was 18, he was on the most liberal, wokest college campus. Bro went to Caltech. Caltech makes Harvard look like preschool, okay? And as you know, the higher up you go in our institutions of higher learning, the more woke they become. Imagine Harvard, but in California. You know there's highly politicized rhetoric, and you know Donald Trump might as well be Satan himself to the people on that campus. Cole Thomas Allen was poisoned mentally to the point where he became a radicalized cog in the leftist machine. The thing we have to stop doing as Americans, and I'm calling out Black people, African Americans, us, people who look like me. Guys, we're dying. We're losing everything because we do not want to stand up for the truth. We're the fall guy. We are the fall guys. The minorities are the suckers. Look at everybody going down for this shit. They're minorities. They're minorities. And when we die, they don't act up over our death. When Renee Colgood tried to kill that police officer in Minnesota, when Alex Preddy attacked the police in Minnesota, there was nationwide outcry. The Congress literally stopped funding ICE over those two white deaths. I don't see Congress saying anything about Thomas Allen. I don't see any Democrat left-wing politician saying, hey, man, we need to go see what's going on with this guy because, maybe he's just a dude who is suffering from mental illness. Maybe what we've been saying is getting to people and they're starting to believe it because they've been buried by this stuff so long, they don't really know what's real from what's fake. They don't know what's just empty rhetoric from what's a real call to action. When's the last time you heard the Democrat Party talk about Cori Bush, a woman who lost her seat in Congress because she was pushing radicalized, ignorant Democrat liberal narratives? What about Jamal Bowman? You heard about him? Do they bring him up? Do they give him a job? Do they help him out? You had Jasmine Crockett crying on camera the other day because she knows that her life is ruined after she spent several years towing the party line, fundraising millions and millions of dollars for the Democrat Party, only to be cast aside when she was no longer useful. I don't like to make this channel about race, man, but we got to call a spade a spade. We got to speak truth to power, folks. Why are Black people taking the fall for radicalized policies that were created by white folks? Black folks didn't invent socialism. We didn't invent Marxism. Black folks didn't think up the idea of mutilating the genitals of our children. Black America didn't think of the idea of, you can't punish and discipline your kids, so now they could be wild maniacs running all through the city out of control. None of this was our idea. So why are we suffering the consequences that come with pushing radical propaganda? Why are our children, we're losing the best. I'm not racist at all. Michael Kimbrough, close personal friend. This guy in my comments is a close personal friend of Kamala Harris, bro. He told me I voted for her because she's my homie. Close personal friend. We know that you're already, compromised. But what I'm pointing to is this. We lost a Black man yesterday. A Black mechanical engineer, a Black computer scientist. Understand that. A Black fellow resident at NASA. Think about that. A Black man who had everything in his arsenal, and I ain't talking about the guns, his intellectual arsenal, to change the world. He's gone now. He's gone now because he was radicalized on anti-Trump propaganda, and there were no Black people around him to say, brother, listen, just be rational, my brother. You could say what you want about Trump, but you have to understand Trump is going to be gone in 2 years. Hell, he old as dust. He might die in office. So are you going to go to Washington and throw your life away? Or will you just sit back and wait for 2 measly ass years until Trump is out of office? See, he's intelligent, but he's still young. And part of being young is being impatient. And when you're impatient, you do things where if you would have just exercised a little bit of patience, you would have seen that it wasn't the right action. Nobody around him. You got this guy, Michael Kimbrough. This dude is a grown man, 50 years old, calling me a sellout. I'm a sellout because I'm out here speaking against a young brother throwing his life away. That makes me a sellout. Think about that. An older black man is calling me, a younger black man, a sellout because I'm questioning why are our black youth throwing their life away for ignorant reasons. Trump will only be in office 2 more years. What person attempts to assassinate an 80-year-old man? Let's be real. Let's think about that. In the history of the world, what person tried to assassinate somebody who's 80 years old? You wait those people out. You go to the gym, you work out, and you say, you know what? This guy is eventually going to be gone, and I'll be there to take advantage. I said the same thing about Malcolm X when he came out against Elijah Muhammad. I said Malcolm was a fool to speak out against Elijah Muhammad because Elijah Muhammad was already on his way out. All Malcolm X had to do was wait, and he would have been able to turn the Nation of Islam into whatever he wanted it to be. But that is the folly of many of our brothers. We're just too damn impatient. Too damn impatient. Iran's leader was 86. Yeah, if you're dumb enough to think that the leader of Iran, Ayatollah Khamenei, was still calling the shots, that just shows you're old and ignorant, Mike. That just shows you're not just old, you're also old and ignorant. The people right now who are in charge, you see how they fractured from the foreign minister? Those was the people telling Khamenei what he was going to do. He was old as hell. Anyway, I'm not entertaining that. But anyway, this is my point. You got a guy. He's 26 years old. That he wasn't even 30 yet. He's 26 years old. He's living in Torrance, California with his parents, right? He's working as an IT freelance consultant, and he was working in administrative roles concerning IT, right? Just think about that. The guy is a whiz. He's a genius. He's a genius. In California, having those type of qualifications, this guy was easily pulling in $100,000 to $200,000 a year if he wanted to, with ease, no effort, right? Why did this man go to Washington to kill the president? But see, Cole, he wrote a manifesto. He has a manifesto, which is absolutely insane. And we're going to read some of it. We're going to read some of this guy's manifesto. I have it here. Okay. So hold on. Okay. So hold on. I thought I had it. Okay. All right, here we go. Share this tab. All right, let me share this with you. Okay, so we have the most comprehensive or most detailed link to the manifesto here. So I'll just read this from the New York Post with all their ads. This guy had this all outlined. And when you read the manifesto, you kind of understand where he's coming from. And I don't know who does a hoax and creates a manifesto for a hoax, but that's what we have to say. Oh, this is a hoax. This is not real. Because if the liberals came out and told you, hey man, this is like real, this is a problem, you would start questioning your allegiance to that party, right? Right? Okay, so look. So accused White House correspondent dinner gunman Cole Allen sent a chilling anti-President Trump manifesto to his family just minutes before opening fire, calling himself the friendly federal assassin and revealing he was hell-bent on killing Trump administration officials. The Post has learned. Allen described his targets as including administration officials, not including FBI Director Kash Patel. So he didn't want to kill Kash Patel for some reason. Prioritized from highest ranking to lowest in the unhinged missive. I don't know what that is. Missive that went out 10 minutes before the shooting Saturday night. U.S. officials said, I am no longer willing to permit a pedophile, rapist, and traitor to coat my hands with his crimes, Allen wrote, apparently referring to the president. Now, if we look at that line, how much of this has been proven in a court of law? Just ask yourself that question. Bro, why are you spamming my chat? Why are you spamming my chat? Anyway, now you're banned, so enjoy that. But hey, I know that guy Michael Kimbrough personally, but look at how ignorant these dudes are, bro. This guy knows me personally. I help this guy out whenever he asks me to, but he would rather throw our relationship away because he's trained like a dog to go and jump and defend liberal ignorance at all costs. I've never disrespected this guy, doing anything to this dude. He's jumping in my chat. Literally, I'm never even going to talk to that guy again now because he's in my chat behind the Democrat Party. This guy literally is so drunk and brainwashed off of victimhood. He's a multi-millionaire complaining about how he's a victim every day. This guy got millions and millions of dollars. A movie director in Hollywood. This guy in the chat that I just blocked. A movie director in Hollywood with millions and millions of dollars. All he posts about is slavery, white supremacy, oppression, this, that, and the third. This is what I'm telling y'all. A man can be brainwashed to believe that he is a victim of something he is not even a victim of. Think about that. I'm a victim, but I'm a multimillionaire. I'm a victim, but I've directed movies with top level actors. I'm a victim, but I'm an actor myself with millions and millions and millions of dollars. But I'm a victim, guys. I'm telling you, the unhinged, the mental illness is severe, bro. Mental illness is real in our communities, man. People don't want to listen to that, but I'm telling you. And this is why I understand Cole, this would-be assassin. I understand Cole because I know Cole is growing up in a community that is filled with dudes like Michael Kimbrough. They've made it, but they're going to be gatekeepers to keep you from making it because they're going to bog you down with victimhood narrative. They've made it, so they're going to bog you down with victimhood narrative. Bro, instead of telling me how much of a victim I am, why don't you show me how to make millions and millions of dollars like you did? No, that's for me. I need you to be a victim because you're going to continue the narrative. That's so silly. Anyway, so if you look at what Cole Thomas said, I'm no longer willing to permit a pedophile, rapist, and traitor to coat my hands with his crimes. None of this is proven in a court of law, right? None of it at all. But he is so convinced that is true. Now, this guy is intelligent. He has a high level IQ, but no mind, no matter how intelligent, can overcome being immersed in propaganda from the time you're young until the time you're a 26-year-old man. Very hard. Do you think there was real balance? His parents was probably now talking about Trump's a pedophile, Trump's a rapist, Trump this, Trump that. I bet you they wish they wouldn't have been saying that stuff now. Because this guy right here, he's a doer. He ain't a talker. He sees a problem or a perceived problem, he handles it. That's kind of how his brain works. Figuring out solutions to problems. He perceived Trump as a problem. He would try to eliminate him. He threw his life away. In order to minimize casualties, I will also be using buckshot rather than slugs. Less penetration through walls. He wrote before disturbingly admitting he was willing to kill everyone in the room if it meant getting to his targets. I would still go through most everyone here to get to the targets if it were absolutely necessary, on the basis that most people chose to attend a speech by a pedophile, rapist, and traitor, and are thus complicit. But I really hope it doesn't come to that. So in that sense, he's criticizing the very Democrats who introduced these narratives to the public. Do you see Democrats coming out to defend Cole for adopting the narratives and ideologies that they introduced? Do you see the media coming out defending Cole for going and shooting at the president over narratives that they introduced? Where's Hakeem Jeffries? Where is what's her old ass up here, Maxine Waters? Where's Joe Biden? Where's Kamala? Where are all the people who give credibility to these accusations to defend a man who went and acted upon them? Because it's all a game, guys, for them. You die, they win. Allen referred to his Christian faith several times in the document within a list of rebuttals to imagined objection to his actions. He also made mention of hot button political issues like the Trump administration's strikes on Venezuelan drug boats and the detention of illegal migrants. Turning the other cheek is for when you yourself are oppressed. I'm not the person raped in a detention camp. I'm not the fisherman executed without trial, Allen wrote in the deranged document. They're calling the document deranged. He grabbed a hold of things that they put into the world. And they, soon as he came forward, he did something based on it. As soon as he acted on it, they disowned him. Everybody who argues for the left, everybody who argues against Trump and the Republicans, they evil, they bad, this, that. Well, that's what you got to look forward to. The minute you act on the things that they're telling you are dangerous and a threat to democracy, they will disown you. Which a relative provided to police, a U.S. official said. So a relative of his presented the document. They gave it to the police. He sent it to his relatives. They could have held that, right? Think about this. I want y'all to think about this in all seriousness. You about to go to trial to fight for your life. You're about to go to trial to fight for your damn life. And your no good relative is giving the police evidence with which they will send you to jail for the rest of your life. They probably was jealous of him. His relatives probably were jealous of him. And it makes total sense because that's the nature of liberals. They'll celebrate you and cheer you on as long as you're useful to them. But the minute you get in a tough spot, they reveal their true sentiment about you. Why would I give the police anything to lock my damn relative up? Especially if I believe what he believed. Especially if I was sitting up at the cookout with him talking about how Trump is a pedophile or rapist. Black folks, right? 85% voting for Democrat. Why are y'all not marching down to the jailhouse for Cole Thomas Allen? Y'all all believe Trump a pedophile, right? Y'all all believe Trump is a racist, right? Why y'all not marching down to the courthouse for him? That's my question. Where y'all at, homies? He went to go try to end Trump because y'all, for the kids. That's what they say, right? They care about the kids. Where they at? Look, where is bro's $5 million GoFundMe for his defense fund? Where is it? He was trying to eliminate the threat to democracy. Where's his money? Why y'all don't help him? He's going to go to trial in the most liberal state, in one of the most liberal areas in the union, Washington. You think those jurors going to say, well, we find him not guilty because Trump is a threat to democracy. He was defending the Constitution. You could argue that. I bet you they won't do it. You guys see the left and the right. A person with common sense sees the left and sees the right and a cliff. You either on the right side or you falling off the edge, because these people will not be there for you. They will never be there for you after you go out and take a penitentiary chance and risk your life in the defense of their narratives. They just won't do it. Y'all better wake up and pay attention. I'm not a school kid blown up. Oh, wait, I did that. Wait, let me see. Wait, I don't think I read this. I'm not a school kid blown up or a child starved or a teenage girl abused by the many criminals in this administration. Turning the other cheek when someone else is oppressed is not Christian behavior. It is complicity in the oppressor's crimes. Acting Attorney General Todd Blanche said investigators believe he traveled by train from Los Angeles to Washington, D.C. via Chicago, which he speculated could have been an attempt to avoid the scrutiny associated with air travel. Okay. Allen mocked the insane lack of security at the Washington Hilton when he arrived armed to the teeth without so much as a sideways glance. Like, the one thing that I immediately noticed walking into the hotel is the sense of arrogance. I walked in with multiple weapons and not a single person there considered the possibility that I could be a threat, he wrote. See, look at what he's mocking. He's not mocking the fact that, he's not paying attention to the fact that this is America. This is a Second Amendment country. Just because someone has a gun doesn't mean they're a threat. That actually benefits us, especially black folks. And you're staying at a hotel, dumbass. He needed a friend like me. You're staying at a hotel, dummy. When you go into a hotel, you're there to spend the night. So they're not going to check your bags and all that because there are people who stay at hotels who have guns and everything else, right? But were you allowed to get past the security checkpoint that you had to go through to get into the event? That is what matters. A hotel does not shut down just because the president does an event there. They still need to get their money. Understand that. They still are a business. You're using the ballroom. You're not using the whole hotel. And they're not, it would be fiscally irresponsible for the United States to rent out an entire hotel for an event that can be, encompassed in just one ballroom. But the reality is, why are we having to have events like that at a hotel in Washington when you got the big old White House with a ballroom that needs to be refurbished or built up and improved, right? Upgraded. That's the whole thing. People will say, Trump is just doing this. Trump is just doing this so he can have an excuse to build the ballroom. Listen, bro, Trump didn't need an excuse to build the ballroom. Trump wasn't using federal dollars to build that damn ballroom. He was getting donations from the same people who you buy stuff from every day. Why do you have a problem with Trump building a ballroom, but didn't have a problem with Obama installing a basketball court? A ballroom is for use for every president going forward. I don't think Trump's out on the basketball court. Understand that. People sit here and just make up every excuse that the media, it's like if you made it up in your own mind, I could rock with you. But you're literally just regurgitating media narratives, right? But this guy's dumb. Oh, look at the lack of security. Bro, the security got you when you was armed. You thought you was Billy Badass and couldn't even get past the security, and they took you alive. Billy Badass don't get taken alive. He literally screams out, "They'll never take me alive." That's a part of it. How did you get taken alive, bro? If you so gangsta and such a freedom fighter. The security at the event is all outside, focused on protesters and current arrivals, because apparently no one thought about what happens if someone checks in the day before. Like, this level of incompetence is insane. And I very sincerely hope it's corrected by the time this country gets actually competent leadership. He added, like, if I was an Iranian agent instead of an American citizen, I could have brought a damn Ma Deuce in here and no one would have noticed shit, invoking a nickname for the M2 Browning 50 caliber machine gun. Actually insane. Allen's brother notified the New London, Connecticut Police Department about the manifesto, an official told the Post. So his own brother snitched on him. The document was signed Cold Force, friendly federal assassin Allen. The official told the Post that the Secret Service has interviewed Allen's sister, who lives in Rockville, Maryland, and learned he often made politically radical remarks and spoke of doing something to fix the world's issues. Authorities confirmed that Allen bought 2 handguns and a shotgun at Cap Tactical Firearms and stored them at his parents' home. He regularly trained at a shooting range, the official said. And this is a picture of everybody laid out. I thought she was dead. Funny. He was part of a group called the Wide Awakes and is believed to have attended a No Kings protest in California, where he graduated from college and worked as a teacher. Y'all know yesterday I went to that fool's job. For y'all who don't know, last night I went to this guy's job. I went to his job. It's right down the way from me in Torrance, California. Capping off the manifesto, which reads at times like a suicide note, he offers a peek into his frame of mind as he readied himself to storm the gala. Oh, and if anyone is curious, is how doing something like feels, it's awful. I want to throw up. I want to cry for all the things I wanted to do and never will. For all the people whose trust this betrays. I experience rage thinking about everything this administration has done. Guys, what part of a hoax is that? The guy's literally telling you, like, I'm about to do something crazy that I know a lot of people won't approve of. Why doesn't he tell you that he was hired by the Trump administration? Why? He hates Trump, but he's working for Trump, and he's going to spend the rest of his life in jail so Trump can get a ballroom built. He didn't even kill anyone. He didn't even kill anyone. But it has to be called a hoax, so the radical leftist morons can feel good about themselves. So the media can continue to spew anti-Trump propaganda that dog whistles people like this, right? For the next 2 years. See, the media understands that if it is made clear, if this guy would have came and said, man, I'm doing what I'm doing because I watch Fox News or CNN, and they're telling me Trump is crazy and he's this and he's that and the third, and I'm going to do something about it. There will be immediate legislation being presented to get rid of the legislation that Obama signed that allows the mainstream media to lie to your face on TV and make you believe it's journalism. See, it wasn't always this way. The media outlets could not host talk shows disguised as news shows, right? They couldn't get on stage and do kind of like what Sean Hannity does. He has his show Hannity, where he gives his opinion on news topics, but he presents it as if it's bound by the rules of journalistic integrity, and it's not. It's the same thing that Rachel Maddow does. She does her show, Maddow. She comments on the news as if she's bound by journalistic integrity, and she's not. She is spewing her opinions as if they are facts, well researched, confirmed fact with citation. And it's not. It's literally just their opinion. The View is the same thing. People listen to what people say on The View and think that that is real news. That's not real news. That's just their opinion. But if they present it to you and package it like it's news, right? You don't know that most people don't know the difference. And most people are not about to go fact check what they're hearing on The View. That's just the reality. They're not going to fact check that crap. I got a little bit of blur here. Okay. Yeah, most people are not going to fact check that stuff. I want to go here. Check this out.
Never been to any correspondence. Let me get this straight. Donald Trump, who's never been to any correspondence dinner, decides to go to correspondence dinner today. And then the first time he goes to his correspondence dinner, somebody tries to make an attempt on his life. The correspondence dinner is one of the most secure events in the country. It draws all the news media and the personalities to this one event. Presidents historically always go to it, but now we're to believe that a guy came armed, tried to shoot the guy, and it just so happened when Donald Trump is suffering in the war in Iran, where the economy is going down the drain, where gas prices are going higher, where more and more of his own people and allies are just abandoning him in mass. He really needs a win, and apparently he just got one.
See, and this is what I'm saying. You can say, oh, this is fake, this is a hoax. But then when you start just spewing nonsense, it's like, come on, dude. That's your opinion of what's going on. Donald Trump is being abandoned and yada, yada, yada. That's not the reality. He's suffering in the war in the economy. The economy's not in the tank. You're just throwing things out there that you believe will validate what you're saying to people who really aren't going to do any research. The stock market is hitting record highs. How's the economy in the tank? That's what I'm trying to understand. Oh, yeah. And if Trump did do it, then you guys are just proving that Trump's smarter than you. But I don't know why Trump would do that. They are radicalizing people. People like him, the news, MSNBC, CNN, Democracy Now, what's that idiot? Rashad Ritchie, Roland Martin. They're radicalizing people with lies. And people act on those things. Look at the guy who went on the train in New York and shot at those white folks. He said, yeah, I'm a student of Louis Farrakhan. He was radicalized. Of course, Louis Farrakhan gonna disown his ass, but he was radicalized. But they will disown these people and say, oh, it's a hoax, so they can keep spewing propaganda because it's good for clicks and views.
The last assassination attempt is also very interesting because the government has actually tried to shut down all the investigation and they don't want to look into it any further. In addition to it, multiple news stations have come out and reports have shown that after this happened, the Secret Service was actually ushering journalists and photographers to come in to take the perfect photo of Trump, and they lowered the American flag behind him. What's wrong with the CIA and the FBI? Like, did the Trump administration also fire all of their competent people and replace them with diehards? What's happened to our country when even the CIA and other agencies are just so incompetent at doing this type of stuff?
Right. And if you look at the guy's page, Iran is so genius. They're super smart. They're way smarter than America. They're beating America in the war right now. These people are it's so obvious to see their bias. Is not even funny. But this is a narrative that is being spewed all over mainstream media.
This isn't just one event. This is a bit of a carnival. You know, the dinner itself is the event. And to get into the ballroom itself, to get into the dinner, if you had a ticket to the dinner, and that's 2,500 people, you had to go through airport style security. Now you could get into the building of the hotel before you got to that stage. And as we understand it tonight, someone entered the building and ran at that airport security when they were tackled, and we've seen the footage that President Trump has published on his Truth Social website in the last hour or so. But you could get pretty close. But there were lots of other parties, other events, other gatherings, receptions going on within the hotel that wasn't the official event. So to get into the ballroom, you had to go through the airport security, but you could get into the building without having really much of a check.
Yeah, we are hearing that the suspect has been identified as Cole Thomas Allen, who's 31, from California. And the police chief in Washington, D.C., Jeffrey Carroll, says he was a hotel guest where the event was taking place, and his room has been secured as part of the investigation.
One thing that I'm disturbed by as we...
Okay, so the Cole Thomas Allen, he was like, oh, it's amazing how I got past security and all this stuff. Look, dude, like I said before, the hotel does not stop renting out rooms just because there's a correspondence dinner. The hotel doesn't give a shit about that. The government rents out that ballroom like everybody else, and there are other ballrooms there that can also be rented out. And like that man said, they were rented out. Understand that. So there's not going to be security at the entrance of the hotel. Right? There's going to be crowd control, but not security. So you made it past the entrance of the hotel. Whoop-de-doo. But when you tried to run your ass past that security checkpoint to get into that correspondence dinner, you got. You got. So I don't understand how they're like, oh, security was so weak and it was so lax. Okay, did you get through it? Did you see all them damn armed soldiers and shit that came out on that stage? Security was not as lax as he thought. That's the real.
Woke up this morning. But
CNN, so they coming out. I hate this dude. So CNN, they coming out because they were at the correspondence dinner, right? And they were on the floor hiding. And so now even they're coming out against the idea that this was a hoax.
As we woke up this morning is seeing folks on the internet say that this was a false flag, that we are basically all in cahoots to say that this was staged. And I think as someone who, for all of us who was in the room, who had to jump on the ground, who had to text our family and friends and tell them that we're okay, calling our moms, like so many people in this country have done for decades, to see people say those kinds of things, it is frustrating and it's disturbing. It shows the issues that we have to try and fix.
So we got to follow up on our coverage of the would-be assassination slash.
So this is what I like to call a glitch in the matrix, where, because a lot of times the liberal mainstream media, they will use the social media wing. I consider those the most uninformed people who literally just get online and give their opinion about certain situations with no information, no real information about what's going on. They usually work in tandem, right? We throw out the bullshit narrative, all the liberal social media talking heads, Dean Withers, etc. They repeat it, they regurgitate it, and that's like the way they run their plays, right? But every now and then there's a glitch in the matrix where the media, the mainstream leftist media, they will want to change the narrative and go back to reality for a little bit just to restore or maintain some semblance of credibility. And the social media wing won't get the memo, and they'll go full-fledged into propaganda mode and into conspiracy mode. That's what's happening. CNN is trying to put out the memo, hey guys, we're not calling this one a false flag or a hoax, because we're trying to use this, to gain credibility again. Understand that. That's what's going on here.
All room. Take a look.
White House officials tell our CBS News' Jennifer Jacobs that authorities have found anti-Trump and anti-Christian rhetoric on the suspect's social media accounts. We're also told by law enforcement sources both of his.
And yet the guy said they found anti-Trump and anti-Christian rhetoric, but the boy said he's a Christian. So explain that.
Firearms were purchased legally in California. As for the defendant, Margaret, he'll appear in federal court tomorrow.
Well, Trump just used this active shooting to plug his ballroom. So we found the motive for him staging this performance at the White House.
Oh, I love this comment. That's viral to the max. He's talking about the Viral Way podcast, 100%. This is exactly what the Viral Way podcast does. They will spew propaganda. Oh, the earth is flat, blah, 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 blah. And then they'll try to walk it back and say something that's actually factual. It's like they keep you on a shifting platform where, we'll say something that totally destroys our credibility, but then we'll say a commonly understood and accepted truth that'll make you think, oh yeah, man, I can listen to what these guys say. It's a tactic in the media. But you see how all the serious news outlets, all these legacy new media outlets, they're like, no, this was real, blah, blah, blah. Even the Democrats, Hakeem Jeffries and them, oh no, violence is never the answer. They're going to give it like a week or two, just like they did after Butler. And then they're going to be right back dog whistling. But the social media wing, they're like, no, they go full steam ahead all day long, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week with the propaganda in the BS narratives.
Well, Trump just used this active shooting to plug his ballroom. So we found the motive for him staging this performance at the White House Correspondents' Dinner. We found the motive. Of course, he would slip in, well, actually, if we were at the White House ballroom, the security would have been in tip-top shape and no one would have been able to get in with a weapon, which is actually mostly basic protocol for a security guard, you would think. So
no, they wouldn't be able to get in because they would have to go through the White House checkpoints. You can't even get in the White House without advance notice. everybody at the White House has to be on a list to get through the gate. See, because they're doing it at a hotel, they're basically having to allow the public closer than they ever would at the White House. And Trump is right. If this was held at the White House, right, they would have never even gotten close. He would have never even got on the premises. Trump's not wrong, but because the Hilton is like, yo, we still want to make money off these hotel guests, you're gonna have to get within 100 yards or 200 yards of regular, normal, everyday people. So Trump's right. And you could tell this white lady, you could tell even in her mind as she's talking, the common sense is it's fighting with the ignorance to try to come in. But she's not going to let it. She's not going to let it.
So the fact that they didn't have even a bouncer, it feels like there.
A bouncer.
This is so staged.
She's equating Secret Service agents to security guards and bouncers.
It's so staged. And here's the fucking motive. He's going to do anything to get that bunker.
I'm just going to say it. I would believe Erica Kirk was telling the truth before I would believe that what happened at the White House Correspondents' Dinner tonight wasn't staged. Because I've been to events at the White House. I know the layers of security you have to pass through. And you want me to honestly believe that someone got through multiple metal detectors, multiple screenings with a weapon, managed to fire it off 3 times before being taken down. They rushed the president and the first lady and the cabinet out. And now they're going to fucking resume the event. If somebody really did get through all those levels of security with a weapon that they managed to also fire off, that's a massive fucking security breach. You would not resume the event. That doesn't make any fucking sense. What?
Okay, so she's an idiot because she says, I've been to White House events and you have to get through all types of metal detectors and everything. Look, dummy, the event wasn't held at the White House. But do you know how many people will listen to this girl because she's blonde and they'll be like, see, I knew it was hoax. How you going to get through all that security at the White House? Potty mouth Polly. That's her name on TikTok. You're an idiot. The event was not held at the White House. There were not all these levels and layers of security. The Hilton is not putting metal detectors and everything else, 10 different layers of metal detectors in their hotel just because the president's there. They're not doing that. You will go through the front door like everybody else. You will go to the front desk. You will show you have a reservation. You will get your key card and go to your room. Now, over there in that room right there, we are having the White House Correspondents' Dinner, but you are not a guest of that. And if you are, you will go through their security checkpoint, their 2-3 layers of security checkpoints, then you will get in. She's talking as if the event is held at the White House. And this is what I'm trying to say. These people, this is the social media wing of the liberal propaganda apparatus. They are not bound by journalistic integrity. They are not obligated to tell the truth or present facts. They can spew opinions based on misinformation all they want to because of freedom of speech. And they work in tandem with the legacy mainstream media to create false narratives for false anti-Trump, liberal, radicalized, radical-driven narratives. This is what many of our people are succumbing to.
It's more to the press that are terrified in that ballroom, or were terrified in that ballroom. I can't imagine what that's like, but I want you to remember that every student in this fucking nation does, because that's just a tiny fraction of what these kids experience every goddamn day.
Looked at all of the conditions that took place tonight, and I will say, it's not.
And everything is done in the name of sympathy. Oh, what about the children? Guys, these people laugh at death. When Kirk got killed, these people laughed. You think they really care? If those children are Republicans, they'll say, serves them right. That's what they get. Truth 884. Brandon, you are missing something about the hotel situation. The Democrats would buy out the entire hotel and pretend they aren't elitist. 100%. And they would put an abortion bus in front of it. It's so crazy to me how these people always fall back on this, like, oh, it's about the children. What about the children of Epstein file? Well, what about the 1,150 Black children that are aborted every day? As Democrats continue to push for funding of Planned Parenthood to put abortion clinics in our community. They don't give a damn. That's just a talking point. That's just a talking point to try to, where they try to connect with you on some BS so they can try to indoctrinate you.
Sucks.
That event last night at the White House Correspondents' Dinner, it was not staged, and it's dangerous to say otherwise. Let me explain. And this will undoubtedly...
So these are people who are now pushing back against the idea that this is staged, this is the hoax. And, you know, when, and I will tell you, I'll break this up by race. When white folks say, oh, that's staged, 9 times out of 10, they have a narrative, right? They're trying to get you with the propaganda. When Black folks say it, I think for us, it's more of a coping mechanism. We don't want to believe that it's possible because we don't want to believe the liberals are capable of this type of demonic behavior, because then we might have to not be liberals anymore. We might have to stop voting Democrat at 85%.
Be an unpopular opinion among many, but it's important that you understand. Let me first tell you why it wasn't staged, and then let me tell you why it's dangerous to say that it was. So the first thing that I've heard is that the suspect mysteriously made it through security while armed, and that just didn't happen. The incident took place outside of the security area, the main security areas before you walk into the ballroom, and this is not uncommon whenever the president speaks at public events. Most stringent security areas set up immediately before you enter the room where the president is or it's going to be. I've been to plenty of these events, and that's normal protocol.
Yeah, listen, man, this is what I'm saying. It's like, it's federal, right? So federal government do everything the same way, pretty much. Go to the airport. Your first level of security is going to be the guy standing outside with guns as you walk into the airport. The police and, you know, they're going to be just standing around in case someone does something. Then your next level of security, right, would be when you go to like the ticket counter. In that area, there's like people working in there. There's police officers with guns and stuff as you walk headed towards your terminal. Then you get to the TSA portion, right? You get to the part where TSA is. You go in there and you got to go through the metal detector, the x-ray machine, show your passport, to all that stuff. Okay. If you look at those situations, there's armed people all around you. That's where the most stringent security is, where you're going to be going into the terminal. You understand that? That's where they're making sure you don't got no guns, weapons, nothing like that. Now, they don't really care about drugs and stuff, but once you get in, then they have dogs walking around sniffing luggage and everything else. So that's how the government sets up their security perimeters. Yeah, when you walk in the front door, like the airport, no one's stopping you or checking you when you walk in the front door. But as you go deeper in, the security intensifies. It gets more stringent. So, oh, he made it past security. He did not. He did not. He didn't even make it past the first level of security. And what I think is when he checked in, security might have been much lighter because the president wasn't in the building. And then when he went back, he thought, oh, yeah, I'm going to go through like normal. But then the president was in the room, so everything was tighter. That's why he tried to make a mad dash towards the president.
Number two, I heard that the president and vice president stayed on premise after the incident. That's also not true. The president and vice president were removed immediately, and the area was in complete lockdown until
both vice president and president had left the premise. And then I heard that the event continued after the incident happened, and that's also not
That's a bunch
true.
of lies.
The event was stopped, and it will be rescheduled, I think, in the next 30 days. So again, there isn't a single element out there that suggests, at least to me, that what happened last night at the White House Correspondents' Dinner was staged. And we need to treat it for what it is, an inexcusable event that should not happen in a democratic society.
Yeah, I agree with this guy. It's not staged, and we need to treat this.
Yeah, there's no way. All the smart money is saying the same thing. There's no way this was staged, and the people who are calling it staged are only calling it staged because if they convince you it was staged, you won't begin to question the impact or the effect that their propaganda is having on everyday Americans' psyche. It's getting to the point where people are starting to get guns and go after the president because they're scared of what he might do. Not because he's actually going to do it, but because they're constantly being told that he's going to do something crazy or radical.
Amazing.
This guy's obviously another of these left-wing lunatics who's come to kill the president. 3 assassination attempts on the president now. Charlie is dead. You have people on the left lionizing Luigi Mangione.
Well, there's a bar in Wisconsin.
Let me finish.
Yeah.
You have polling showing a tolerance for political violence on the left. And I heard Hakeem Jeffries say this week, it's maximum warfare all the time.
We are in an era of maximum warfare. Everywhere, all the time.
Why is a congressman telling the American public that we are in an era of warfare everywhere, saying Democrats and Republicans, you and your neighbors, right, are at war? I got a little lesbian chick upstairs from me. She's a Democrat. She has her camel signs. She has issues with me in my show. She doesn't like what I say, right? We're not at war. If the bitch came to the door and wanted a cup of milk, I give it to her. If she needed some sugar, I give it to her. We're not at war. You know what I'm saying? I don't talk to her. I walk past her because I tend not to talk to liberal women at all because everything's sexual assault. But she's not my enemy. We're not at war. We just don't agree on politics. That's it. You know, and even though there have been complaints made against me, you know, by this person, I'm not at war with her, and I would never do to her what she attempted to do to me, right? That's fine. It's not a war. We just have a difference of opinion on the way this country should be run. That's it. And once you can get past that, then you can have a country again. But you're not going to be able to get past it when you got Hakeem Jeffries telling people we're at war, when you got people telling trans people that everybody wants to kill them, when you got people telling parents, if your kid comes as trans and you don't let them do mutilation, then they going to commit suicide. It's all fear-based programming. This boy gave up his life, a very promising future, 26-year-old kid, man, gave up his life because of fear-based programming. When he wrote it, the saddest part about the manifesto for me was, I'll tell you what it was right after this clip.
A violent streak on the left and a rhetoric problem on the left, and it must be acknowledged today.
When I was at the Department of Justice, what we found is after the 2020 election, there was a significant rise of threats to all elected leaders, state legislators, some who were killed, to our president, Joe Biden at the time, Barack Obama. Someone tried to go into his residence. This is a problem.
Who's the president?
Hold on.
How many assassination attempts?
There are several
3.
assassination attempts
3.
to other presidents that were not successful. I agree. It should be investigated about why they continue. What are the failures of the Secret Service?
And the Democratic and
there should be an investigation as to why this keeps happening. They know exactly why it keeps happening. They know what the narratives that they reinforce. She's trying to minimize what's going on with Trump by bringing up Obama. All those people, when someone tries to kill them, there are people from their own party. When Nancy Pelosi's husband was attacked, That was by a Democrat. Every time someone attempts to kill a Democrat is someone who's a Democrat. I'm being real. Every time. Every time. But when it's Republicans, it's always a liberal. Hold on. So when you look at that situation, I mean, even if you look at Lincoln, he was a Republican killed by a Democrat, John Wilkes Booth, right? Trump, 3 times liberals have tried to assassinate him. Oh, but look at Obama. Someone tried to enter his residence. That ain't the same. That's not the same. They're actually coming with guns into hardened locations trying to get to Trump. It's to the point where it's hysterical. It makes no sense. It defies the realms of logic and reasoning and rational thinking.
And just quickly, the Speaker of the House in Minnesota, a Democrat, lost her life to political violence this past summer. This is not solely a problem on the left. It is a problem across the board. It is a rising crisis.
Don't downplay it this
It is
way.
rising crisis in this country.
Stop generalizing
and
the
it's
left.
appalling.
And stop generalizing the left as the
polling
entire left.
Candidates
Hold on,
campaigning with Hassan
listen
Piker.
to me. Stop generalizing the left as the left is the
You can be
entire
mad at me
problem.
all you want.
I'm not
It's
mad
on-
at you.
we have a left
Scott,
wing
I
issue.
want you to be truthful.
Yeah, and you have, and as many of your fellow Democrats have used some heated rhetoric against the president. And do you think twice about that when something like this happens?
Well, what rhetoric do you have in mind?
Just talking about some of the fact that he, is terrible for this country and so on and so forth. I understand that that's your democratic right, but overall,
Yeah.
do you
I have
a
no
responsibility?
personal problem with Donald Trump at all. I mean, I talk about the policies of this administration, the authoritarianism like we saw on display in Minneapolis, where 2 of our citizens were gunned down in the streets simply for exercising their First Amendment rights. Renee Good, Alex Preddy, and others have, died in custody. I'm talking about policies. I don't personalize it. And I certainly have never called the press the enemy of the people. I think the press are the people's best friend. And that's why.
Okay, so if you listen to these people now, the narrative is changing. Oh, I don't have any personal issue with Donald Trump. If you're calling somebody a pedophile, a rapist, a child molester, oh, he's a threat to democracy. He's this and he's a dictator. He's a king. Those are personal attacks. Those are personal attacks. These are things that speak to the character of a person. And that's the problem. They don't want to say, hey, this guy, I disagree with him on the way this country should be run. They're not saying that. They're attacking him personally, trying to tear down his character to get you to not support him politically. Hey, shout out to my bro, All Gas, No Brakes, for the $5 holler. Guys, ladies and gentlemen, we do have a $5 challenge in effect. We're looking for 5 super chats of $5 or more. We are 1 down and we only have 4 more to go. So if you value the content, if you like this journalism, bless the channel. And after this show is over, don't forget, I did go to Cole Thomas Allen's job yesterday in Torrance, California, just to kind of peruse the scene. I honestly thought I was going to see a lot of news cameras out there, but there weren't any. And I gave a little description or a little monologue about the area. Bro definitely comes from an affluent area. He's not someone who was struggling in life. He was still living with his parents and making money and has all the degrees and everything, all the qualifications to get the highest paying jobs in the country. Why did he do this? Why did he throw his life away? Why did he throw his life away in an attempt to kill an 80-year-old man? Because he was radicalized. That's what radicalism is. Radicalization is. When you get so pumped up and hyped up on something, now you're making decisions that don't make any logical sense.
why it's written right there into the First Amendment. We need the press to be a vigilant watchdog against every level of government, federal, state, local, all of it.
You're not going to get an argument from me on that. Before I let you go,
Yeah, no, this is real. I like this comment right here. The craziest part is Trump has great character. He's good to people who are good to him. It's been proven. No, 100%. I agree with that. I would say Trump is one of the really, in our community, black community, oh, you got to be real. You got to keep it real. You got to be a real brother and all this shit. Trump is as real as he gets. Every black person that black people claim to respect speak nothing but praise when it comes to Donald Trump. Let's be real. Every black person that black folks respect speak nothing but praise when it comes to Donald Trump. Whether it's Judge Joe Brown, that's our guy, right? That's our guy. He speaks facts. He speaks truth to power. He speaks nothing but highly of Donald Trump. Everybody knows. What up, Black Loki? See, like Black Loki, I like him. See, Michael Kimber, he was criticizing me maliciously. Black Loki talks shit, but I know deep down inside he likes this channel. He likes to come and know the truth, right? You will know the truth, and the truth will set you free. But yeah, things are just not the way they used to be. It's not okay. I'm gonna give you guys my shining. This is one of the reasons why I became a Republican, right? I did not vote for John McCain. I voted for Barack Obama, right? But I understood that the Republicans, they're playing a different level, right? They're playing on a different level when it comes to morality and understanding, hey, this country, whether we like each other or not, it's going to take honesty and effort from both sides to keep this country safe for everybody. This was a town hall for John McCain on October 10th, 2008. He was losing to Obama in the polls, getting cooked hard. And he held a town hall and he was answering questions, right? And a woman takes the mic and she says some pretty disparaging, disrespectful things about Obama. And I want you to hear John McCain's response to that.
I have to tell you, he is a decent.
We're scared. We're scared of an Obama presidency, and I'll tell you why. I'm concerned about someone that cohorts with domestic terrorists such as Ayers.
I have to tell you, he is a decent person and a person that you do not have to be scared as president of the United States. Now, look, I got to ask.
Now, listen, he didn't have to say that. And in today's political climate, Kamala Harris wouldn't have said, you don't have to be afraid of Donald Trump getting elected president. Even after Trump had already been president for 4 years, they were still screaming, oh, it's a threat to democracy. He'll put us back in chains. He's going to do this and do that. He's going to eliminate the Constitution. All that. John McCain said, no, he's a good person. You don't have to be afraid if he becomes president. That takes character. That takes integrity to do that. To not let the bullshit narrative grow legs and get up and walk. To not let the seed of ignorance and lies and deception be planted. I'll always respect this old cracker. He was being real. He was like, you don't got to be afraid. And mind y'all, we had never had a black president before. We had never had a black president before. He could have got up in there, yeah, he's a Muslim, or just do what they do now. Just don't say anything. Let them keep spewing this bullshit so they'll have plausible deniability. The Democrats are wicked, dude.
Scared as president of the United States. Now, now look,
I got to ask you a question. I do not believe in, I can't trust Obama. I have read about him, and he's a.
She said, I can't trust Obama. He said, I got it. He didn't say, yeah, you can't trust him because he's a pedophile. He was on Epstein Island. That's what they do now in our politics. They take it past political and make it personal.
He's an Arab.
He's an Arab.
No,
ma'am. He's a decent family man, citizen that I just happen to have disagreements with on fundamental issues, and that's what this campaign is all about. He's not. Thank you.
And look, the crowd starts applauding. Republicans are racist. No, you're the racist. You're projecting how you feel onto them so you can justify in your mind having hatred towards another American. They clap, not the whole crowd, but a lot of them clap. He's a decent human being. He's a family man. She was wrong. She was wrong, and she was old, and she was scared. And he did what a man does. I'm going to dispel the lies, and I'm going to kill the seed of fear right at that moment. What the Democrats learned in that moment was we can take these people's fear and we can ride it into power. And that's what they've been doing ever since. It takes a lot to have integrity in a moment like that. McCain was old as hell. He was never going to be able to run for president again. He died after that. But, he still was like, having the highest seat in the land wasn't enough to get him to start lying and disparaging another American. He spoke, in this moment, he spoke highly of Obama.
No, ma'am. He's a decent family man, citizen that I just happen to have disagreements with on fundamental issues, and that's what this campaign is all about. He's not.
And he's not, and that's it. But that's every campaign. We just have fundamental issue differences, right, on how the country should be run. That's what politics is. We disagree, we try to find a middle ground, and then we move forward. Now your neighbor has to be your enemy. You got to damn near pick up a gun and want to kill one of your neighbors because they're not going to vote the same as you.
Thank you.
But yeah, that's why I have no problem with telling people, yeah, I'm a Republican. And we're the best thing going for this damn country. Because the Democrats have totally lost their damn mind. Shut up, Black Loki. If your little punk ass ain't going to get up here and say what you got to say, then just shut up, okay? You don't know what you're talking about. But this is what I'm talking about. Like, people, and I don't know what happened to Obama. He used to have some dignity and respect. He just threw that out the window. Them Netflix deals then rotted bro brain or something, because he don't care nothing about integrity no more.
It's been mentioned today. And
This is at John McCain's funeral.
John pushing back against supporters who challenged my patriotism during the 2008 campaign. I was grateful, but I wasn't surprised. As Joe Lieberman said, it was John's instinct. I never saw John treat anyone differently because of their race or religion or gender. And I'm certain that...
Now listen to what Obama said. I've never treated anyone differently because of their race, religion, or gender. But now, since then, the white man is the enemy. DEI. We're going to purposely not hire white folk to give more jobs to black folk, which was a trick because white women benefited from it more than anybody. He said, or gender. Now we're doing everything based on race and gender. How did we go that far in such a short time?
In those moments that have been referred to during the campaign, he saw himself as defending America's character, not just mine. For he considered it the imperative of every citizen who loves this country to treat all people fairly. And finally, while John and I disagreed on all kinds of foreign policy issues, we stood together on America's role as the one indispensable nation.
Yeah. So this is what they do. I mean, they went from speaking at each other's funeral and speaking highly of each other to now it's like, yeah, he's a white devil and everything you said about him is true, even when you know it ain't true. I can't get with that, man. But guys, we are at the end of this show. We've been on here for long enough. Thank you all so much for tuning in and tapping in. Hope you enjoyed it. Got our Sunday live stream in. I'm gonna keep you up to date on what's going on with this situation with Cole Thomas Allen. My thoughts and prayers go out to his family. I wish him the best. I also wish he never sees the light of day unless it's from inside the safety of a prison compound. And I just want people to understand something. Politics is politics. None of these people are going to come to your court hearing. None of these people are going to come to your funeral. Your neighbors are what are the people who are most important. Your family are what's most important. Always remember that and never do anything that will get you taken away from them. Until the next time, thank you for watching this. I appreciate everything you do for me in this channel. Please take care of yourselves, but most importantly, take care of each other. Peace.